and welcome to our lecture. My name is Heng. Today is Saturday, September 14th, here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. It's Friday at 7:30 p.m. back in California. Glad that you're here with us for the next segment of the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. And today our Dharma requester is Tian Zhuangzhuang from China. So I'm going to ring the bell 3 times and then invite you all to join me in making 3 half bows if you'd like to do that. And then we will ask Tian Zhuangzhuang to request Dharma. So here are 3 bows. Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Tian Zhuangzhuang, if you'd like to request Dharma, please go ahead. 好，田庄，你愿意请法，你现在可以请。
恭请大德僧听，为此法会及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahari samyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahari samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，田庄庄，感恩. Thank you for the Dharma request. We appreciate that. Let us now acknowledge country and say that we respectfully acknowledge the Kombu-Meri people, the Ugambi language region here in the Gold Coast, as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认Ugambi语族的Kombu-Meri人是我们这里我们济南法界寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民也致敬。And bells sound wide, resound throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法仰望一国中，共训启发界和平，利益报他诺厚德。Alrighty, well, that's our protocol. We're ready to go now. I would like to say, excuse me, I'd like not to sneeze into the mic. I'd like to say how much I appreciate our translators today, translating into Mandarin here in the Gold Coast and translating into Vietnamese from California with our team of Vietnamese translators and our regular listeners who join in and who appreciate that help in understanding. If you would like a Vietnamese translation, go to the chat box and you'll see a link to the Zoom Vietnamese translation. OK, 还有如果各位呢，你们想听一种流利的普通话的翻译的话，这个控制板的右下角有一个叫interpretation， 就那里可以找到 Chinese 就好了，你可以听到我们的义工很发心在那儿帮你翻译国语普通话。Alrighty, there we go. Also, gratitude to the kind efforts of our volunteers who keep everybody notified and who keep the internet linked up. So that's a lot of hard work every week, and it makes it possible for those of you who, like me, enjoy learning about Master Empty Cloud to join in on these lectures. So there are, at the moment, now that there we go, there are 80 of us online, and where are we? We are in the Gold Coast of Queensland, we're in Fremont, California, in the Bay Area, we're in Ukiah, up in Mendocino County, California. We are in Sydney, down south in New South Wales, in Cascade, Colorado. Bill is here. Brian is listening from Campbell, California. Celeste from Hong Kong. Christine and Lewis in LA. Yi Zhonghee is in LA. Connie's in Sunnyvale. Duc Leban's in Montreal. La Belle Province de Quebec. Edna's in Singapore. Hello, Edna. Elaine is in Ukiah. Elizabeth, that's Liz. I don't know where you are, Elizabeth. You could add it there in your about. Let's see here. Rename on your Zoom participants page. Okay, let's see here. Jane is back in Berkeley. Guohua is in Union City, California. Jason's in Northern California. Jennifer's in Los Altos. Jensen's in Jakarta. Johan is in Malaysia. Linda's in San Francisco. Let's see here. Ling is in Stockton. Lynn's in San Rafael. Loy's in Singapore. Mai's in the Bay Area. Another Mai in Los Angeles. Sun Ming Fang's in Taipei. Good. I'm glad Taiwan is represented here. Wan Lung's in Mesa. Peggy's in Calgary. Ron is in San Jose. Sarah's in Memphis. Keeping up that connection to the music capital. Okay, Sung is in Vancouver. Liu Siqi's in Princeton. Sylvia's in Seattle. Let's see, Tan's at DRBU. All right, welcome. Tina's in Oklahoma. Trans in San Jose. Tam is in San Leandro. Willie's in Virginia. YC's in Ukiah. Okay, then we switch to another hemisphere, and we've got Mr. Ding in Wenguhua. Zhen is in Shengdababala. 还有内蒙古、哈尔滨、北京、杭州、深圳、辽宁、悉尼那就是我们这边北京、安徽、苏州、陕西宝鸡、黑龙江、深圳、泉州let's see here 淮南市in 安徽黑龙江、北京、湖北。Let's see here, that's 黄冈, 河北唐山、北京、江苏镇江、中国河南许昌、呼和浩特、内蒙古、哈尔滨。Let's see here, 还有哪里？浙江、南京、海南、哈尔滨、 这个我老眼睛啊，就说山东济南市、上海、黑龙江 and Haining. Okay, so that's fun. I enjoy doing that. Let's see. Our pilgrim has been bowing from Putoshan to Wutaishan, a distance of 3,000 Chinese miles. And one thing about that, as somebody who has traveled at that speed across the land, is you get a momentum going. When I reached City of 10,000 Buddhas after 2.5 years of traveling north along the Pacific Coast Highway, when I got to City of 10,000 Buddhas, my destination, I had to keep going. We did a warm down lap around the Buddha Hall at City of 10,000 Buddhas for about 6 months. About 4 months, I think. And my goodness, you couldn't just simply stop. Master Empty Cloud has reached Wutaishan, but he doesn't stop moving. He goes on a foot pilgrimage to all of the famous Buddha spots at Wutaishan, and then the historical areas around Shanxi province. He goes to Kaifeng Loyang area, to the historical places that they call it the cradle of Chinese civilization. And as we've said so many times, Master Xuyun took from Master Empty Cloud's 120 years of life 200 episodes, and he had to select what was worth retelling and then writing a poem about, and getting a picture drawn from it. And now the section that we're in is full of stories from Chinese history. And most of them I had to learn from scratch, because these are stories from the Zhou dynasty and stories that began back in the Three Kingdoms and then got renewed in the Tang dynasty, all these famous stories. Today is no exception. But I wanted to give you a heads up here. Our section last week ended with Master Empty Cloud showing up at Zhongnanshan. Zhongnanshan is the hermitage site. It's where people go into seclusion if they want to really dig in and drop out of the world and entirely immerse themselves in their own minds and in nature. That's what you do at Zhongnanshan. His famous hermitage, seclusion, range of mountains. Zhongnanshan is not a mountain. It's 60 miles of a mountain range that just rises out of the plains of Shanxi province. And it's really wild. There are wild animals, there's robbers and bandits, and all kinds of stuff that people can't control. So it's an incredible place to just, close your door and meditate. I have access to a movie created by a friend of ours, Ted Berger, commonfolkfilms.com, that you will want to check out. Ted is one of the very few filmmakers, east or west. He happens to be an American guy, also from Ohio, who got permission from monks all over China to take his film camera and audio equipment and an assistant and just turn the camera on and record what's going on. Well, he did it in Zhongnanshan, inspired by Bill Porter's book, which got translated into the film Amongst White Clouds. And Bill Porter went out and traced. Bill Porter is a poet, a lover of poetry, and a translator of poems and sutras and essays and all. So Bill wanted to find out whether those pilgrims still existed. He went out, wrote the book about it, and Ted Berger, inspired by the book, took his camera out and discovered, sure enough, those pilgrims, these hermits are still there. So today's lecture, the last 10 minutes, we're going to look at a selection from the film, The Mountain Path. So that's coming up. Here we go. Oh, you know what? What I have to do first. There is a story that I went past too quickly. Last week, we heard, or 2 weeks ago, we heard about let's see here, find it right here. The story of, said he admired Bo Yi and Shu Qi when he visited Shouyang. I said that incorrectly. The Chinese for that was, let's see here, Mu Yi Qi Yu You Shouyang. I said that Yi Qi, let me show you here. Close that one. Save it. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show you. I reported it incorrectly right here. I said that it was Bo Ya and Zi Qi. It was not. It was Bo Yi and Shu Qi, and it's a different story entirely. So challenges, paradoxes in ethics with ancient Chinese paragons of virtue. So that's just to say, I want to correct that. I said it was the zhiyinzhe, the one who could tell the sound of the guqin player just by hearing. He could visualize the landscape being played by the musician. Not that one. Their names are similar, but it's a different story. So just to say, correct the record. All right, here we go. Today it is Chang'an Li Zhu Zu Ta, paying reverence to the patriarch stupas in Chang'an. Gong Nian 46岁, 西出大庆关, 至咸阳关少波甘棠树, 抵长安, 城垣雄伟, 城内慈恩寺, 大雁塔, 华严寺, 离杜顺和尚塔, 清凉果实塔, 牛头信国寺, 离庄师塔, 到中南白水梁, 有两圣僧因此. The master, who is now 46 years of age, headed west, and he went through Daqing Pass to Shenyang, where he saw the birch leaf pear tree where Duke Shaobo had lived. Arriving at Chang'an, he saw the imposing wall that surrounds the city and Si'an Monastery within that wall. He bowed to the Great Wild Goose Stupa and to the stupas of the Venerable Master Dushun and National Master Qingliang, both at Huayan Monastery. He visited Niutou Monastery and Xingguo Monastery. He paid respects to the stupa of Venerable Master Xuanzang. He went on to Zhongnan and the Bai Shui Lang, whitewater waves, where in the past 2 sagely monks had lived in seclusion. Okay, last week we got here, you heard that, and I said we could spend an entire session or longer telling the stories from this encounter. Well, we're back. So here's the picture of our rag-robed monk paying respects to stupas. Stupas are religious structures, they're architecture, tall towers usually, where relics of sages are enshrined. A pagoda is a temple, a monastery where there are Buddha images, not relics. The stupa, a Buddhist structure, is where the relics, the sharira, they're called, left behind in the ashes after cremation of sages. And the size of the stupa determines who the sage was whose relics are buried there. So if it's a Buddha, it can be 7 stories or above. If it's less than 7, you'll know it belongs to someone who is not a Buddha. Buddhas get 7 stages up to 13 or however high you want to go. All right, so Shifu's poem said, Chang'an 古迹观不尽，寺院浮屠塔尤多。中南又有东五台，响鼓坡上念那摩。Chang'an's ancient historical sites are numerous indeed, but the number of temples and pagodas there is greater yet. Zhongnan Mountain and Wutai's eastern peak are nearby. At the top of Drumbeat Hill, let's all say Namo. All right? So, there you go. Now, let's unpack this. In this brief encounter, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 encounters that all have stories behind them. We could tell 14 stories in this one episode. Now, we're not going to do that. That's too many, so I have to be selective. And what I have is, what in the world is the birch leaf pear tree where Duke Xiaobo lived? Great story. Here it is. Here's the story. Let me bring it up. Here's a birch leaf pear tree, otherwise known as a crabapple. Some people will tell you it's a crabapple. It has other names. But the story goes that back in it's a pear tree. Here is Duke Xiaobo. Here he is. There was Zhou Wu Wang, and there was Zhou Shao Wang. Now, this is back in the, let's see, Zhaonan. I need to get my translation up here. Here we are. This is in the Zhou dynasty, which is about rivals the time of the Buddha. The Yin and the Shang were defeated by the martial king of Zhou, Zhou Wu Wang. He established the Zhou dynasty and gave the throne to his son King Zheng of Zhou after he died. Then two great sages emerged in the western Zhou who spread Chinese culture far and wide, the Duke of Zhou and the Duke of Shao. They were both uncles to King Zheng. So there's a lineage flowing from the founding of the Zhou dynasty. Now, the story is, and I won't go too deeply into this because we want to get back to Zhongnan Mountain, but China was divided up from the rule of these two sage kings. And the Duke of Shao was a really kind-hearted, unselfish, uncorrupt, proper and righteous ruler. And he, when the weather was hot, it says he came down to the fields and found a gantang tree. You saw that, the crabapple tree. And he sat underneath the tree despite the heat. And he stayed there while the local folks, no matter what kind of trouble they had, would come to the tree, bow to him, and ask for help. And they would offer up, their harvest or a pig, or they would offer up whatever wealth they had. He did not accept it. He said, thank you, I appreciate it, take it back. I accept it on behalf of the state, it's yours. He would, in a way that honored the gift, he would not accept the goods. And when it was time for him to go finally, they were really sad to see him go. How different is this from people's reception to most of the rulers that they encounter, most of the administrators? So the fact that he refused to be corrupted. They call him a Qing Xiu Guan. He was an official who had his long sleeves were clean. That is to say, he didn't take bribes and put them in his long hanging sleeves the way the Chinese gowns were. That was what most people did. He was selfless. He served the people. And if every official could be this way, oh my gosh. Lush is the crabapple tree. Don't cut it down, don't fell it. This is where Duke Shao camped out. Lush is the crabapple tree. Don't trim it, don't harm it. This is where Duku Shao rested. Lush is the crabapple tree. Don't cut it, don't ruin it. This is where the Duku Shao stayed. So this is a song from the Shijing, famous song. And so he was known as a unselfish ruler, an unselfish official, setting the model for no corruption and in rulership. How nice, wouldn't you wish? Okay, so that's the birch leaf pear tree where Duke Xiaobo lived. And Master Empty Cloud, traveling through, got to see it, wrote it down in his journal, in his notes as he traveled. So then he got to Chang'an. Oh my gosh, Chang'an, formerly known as Xi'an, formerly known as Chang'an, now known as Xi'an, also known as Shenyang, 3 names for the same capital city. Saw the wall around the city. He saw Ci'an Monastery, which is where Master Xuanzang was located, where he did his translation, and Da Yenta, great wild goose stupa. And I mentioned that on Sunday nights, when we lecture on the Avatamsaka, we spend the last chunk of time telling stories from the biography of Master Xuanzang, who is mentioned here. His stupa was, his remains are there. And these are the great monks of China's past who are worthy of celebration. These are incredible men. The story of Master Xuanzang is outstanding in so many aspects. Just give you one of them. He left Chang'an, traveled all the way to India through terrain that people using GPS get lost in, sand dunes and mountain peaks and raging rivers. And he arrived in India despite meeting bandits and, every natural obstacle that you can imagine. On foot, he got there. He stayed long enough to learn Sanskrit, became the debating champion of all of India as a Chinese monk. He debated all the local dignitaries and luminaries, and then packed up a backpack full of sutras and walked back to China. And when he got back, he translated so many, 300 scrolls of those sutras. While he was on the road, he kept such a good journal, such an accurate account of the stories that he heard and the legends, and the things he saw, that the government of India used his journal as the official geographical record of the areas where he went, because why? Nobody else dared go there. So until the 20th century, Master Xuanzang's Tang Dynasty account was the official geographical headings of the government. That's how significant this man's travels were. So, okay, just to say, there's, stories upon stories upon stories. Master Xuanzang. Now, he went to Zhongnan and then Baishui Lang, whitewater waves, where in the past 2 sagely bhikshus lived in seclusion. Now, as I mentioned, Zhongnan Shan is a pilgrimage site. Our next chapter is talks about we'll go there next. I'll read it next. To say that, take it in the sequence. I was going to share my experience at Zhongnan Shan, but we'll get there later. So let's move on. This is number 80, Zhongnan Shan Da Mao Peng, staying in the large thatched hut on Zhongnan Mountain. It's 1885. He is 46 years old. Here we go. 道家舞台因动子，吴祖尧南舞台，吴觉郎也开法忍体安法性诸上人，在山结毛袍，结毛安，刘公同住，法忍劳let's see, sorry. 法忍住老虎窝，也开诸栓龙群。法性住箱子洞，公与觉郎体安同住大茅棚，见天走心飞。Okay, got that? Arriving at Jiawutai Mountain, the master visited Yin Dongzi's silver cave of the fifth patriarch. And at southern Wutai, he called on the venerable Dharma masters Juelang, Yekai, Faren, Tian, and Faxing, who were all living on the mountain in cultivation huts. They invited the master to join them. Dharma master Faren was living in the tiger's den. Dharma master Yekai stayed at the Xuan Long, tying up the dragon's hut. Dharma master Faxing was at Xiangzi cave. The master lodged with Dharma masters Juelang and Tian in the big cultivator's hut. One night, a comet streaked across the sky. And Master Empty Cloud says, we didn't get any prediction related to it, he says. Okay, here he is. You can see the, I'll tell you, the Maopongs don't look like this. That's a pretty fancy looking Maopong. The artist gave it much more grandeur than it actually has, but he's got the monks coming out to greet him here in the deep mountains. And he's walking along with his pilgrim's staff, and you can see this is a pretty wild landscape. But for Master Empty Cloud, this is his favorite kind of environment. You'll remember from his youth that he preferred to hang out where you had to dip up the water from the stream with your hands because you might not even own a cup to drink from. That amount of frugality and asceticism. Here's the poem. What does Shifu say? Shifu says, 当代高僧隐中南，觉朗也开以体安，法人法性诸上座，云公远来近五贤. The eminent bhikshus of the time were in seclusion at Zhongnan Mountain. Dharma masters Juelang and Yekai, as well as Tian, were there. With Dharma masters Faren and Faxing, all five were distinguished monks. Master Yun came from afar to join this group of worthies. Okay. Now, when we get, I don't know any of these names. Juelang, Yekai, Faren, Tian, Faxing. I don't know any of their stories, so I won't be able to share. Maybe some of the listeners or anybody who wants to go more deeply into this account, you can look up these worthy monks. They, for sure, they share one quality, which is they're tough. Zhongnan Shan's conditions are, to say basic doesn't cover it. It's cold, it's damp, it's then scorchingly hot for a period, and you are alone because that's what people want. That's why they go to a place like this, so they can be completely alone. Who do you rely on? You rely on yourself. And any kind of woodcraft or mountain living skills, from maybe you were a Boy Scout, maybe you were a military person, but you have no one to rely on. For food, they have to eat the most basic things. Maybe in I'm going to refer to the film that we're going to watch a few minutes of. In the film, there is a bhikshuni who lives at Zhongnan Shan, and you can see her with a vegetable garden. And she mentions that the vegetable garden only came along after 3 or 4 years. Before that, she foraged. She lived on, here in Australia, it's called bush tucker. It's what you find. And if you can't find it, you do without. It's really basic. She wants the bhikshuni in this film to get water. She has a long coil of plastic tubing. And up above her hut, high up, a 20-minute walk up the mountain, steep mountain, there's a spring. And so she puts one end of the rubber hose in the spring, and then goes back down, and then probably through suction, starts the water flowing, fills her water containers, and then walks back up and collects the rubber hose, because if she were to lose that, she would have to carry a water container up a vertical cliff for 20 minutes, you know. So the hose is the treasure, and she didn't get the hose for years. So tough. This is really, really tough conditions. And yet that's the appeal. That's why cultivators of the way go out there to live in, so they can depend on absolutely their willpower to survive, because there is nothing between your body and nature except the roof over your head and whatever food you can pull up out of the ground. So people who like ascetic practice, this is perfect. This is ideal. These are conditions that you could search for and just not find otherwise. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn on the video, and I want people to know how to find it for further reference. And I'm going to do an advertisement for Ted Berger's films, which are, they're called onemindproductions.com. onemindproductions.com. I'll put it in the chat box, and people can take a look here. Okay, I want to bring up controls here. Let's see, where's our chat box? Hold on, put that away, put that away. There we go. Okay, in the chat, onemindproductions.com. People everywhere can access this, I trust. Go take a look, there it is. It's in the chat box. For people who want to find out more, because Ted has his film that we looked at a few years back before COVID was called One Mind. And One Mind was all about, let's see here, can't seem to find it, was about Yun Ju Shan Zhen Ru Si. There it is. Here is One Mind. People will recall. We showed that here at Gold Coast, and we took an active part in promoting this film. 2016 was when it was made. We traveled with this film to Poland, to England, and showed it around so that folks, because it's telling the story of the Chan school in China, of which, you know, Ted is doing our work by promoting this, by creating this film. All right, so there you go. Just to go take a look at that when you get a chance. This is called The Mountain Path, and I'm going to optimize for video and share computer sound. There we go. Ted's previous film, called Amongst White Clouds, has been re-edited into this film. So here we go. Enjoy. This is Ted's teacher. Ted took this monk as his teacher, took refuge with him. We'll watch about 10 minutes of this. This is Zhongnanshan, where Master Empty Cloud lived for 2 years.
住在丛林里的人，一般在那个禅堂里头，能够住上2-3年，3-5年。你有这个功基子，你就可以住山，住山里修静。但是你必须要漏子要明白，漏子这不明白的话，你思想上起了偏差也就不行。那还容易折磨，容易折磨。
师傅，为什么在山里修行？为什么要住山里？
为啥住山？
对，为什么你为什么住山里？为什么不住城市？跟我们说一下。
Why do you live in the mountains? Is the question.
按道理来说，现在住山的，现在这个住山的一般来说，一般在住山来说，能够发现在山中住来说，这些人，你不管他，他还是有那个道心，你知道吧？他是有那种道心，但是他也大方向，他道心比较强，他愿意离开这些那些房子那些热闹的地方离开热闹的那些地方，他愿意住山，他的接受的这个事物比较少一点喧闹比较少一点在那个地方苦修上3年、5年、10年、8年，他在山里头也不愿意接近人，他专门修静有供养就不高。
您现在穿的毛衣是供养的吗？
我这是那个毛衣，这是一个居士给我的。
是他自己织的吗？这个毛衣是那个居士自己织的吗？
对，就是，就是回来帮我收热去。终南山这个地方，你看冬天也很，冬天比较冷一点。一个诀窍就是打坐，鼻子配合打坐，打坐，你浑身上都热的，脚也发烧，你这时候睡觉，躺下来，肺也很暖和，早上起来又打坐，基本上很好。你看终南山这个地方，它为啥好呢？因为在终南山这个地方休息，因为这个地方好休息，山上生活苦一点，容易成就。菩萨行深般若波罗蜜，自照见无外见空，道一切空安舍利子，舍不异空，空不异。在地是空，空地是真，首先行之以佛是舍利子，舍作法空。但是你没有成就，没有成就，这反复妄想很多，但是你还要考虑及时，
靠这些来。
我名也我名，见在自我老师也无老师，见我空气面到我这也无得也无。我破天上到一半，破了面到故乡，光爱我光爱故。
When I was young, I had a dream. I'm standing in a doorway, an old wooden doorway like a temple gate. It's nighttime, and beyond the threshold, I can see only darkness. Somehow, though, I know that I'm in the mountains. I close the doors in front of me, and I feel at ease. The thing I remember most is that feeling that I was supposed to be there.
That's the voice of Ted, the filmmaker. So now he goes to visit 2 more hermits. I can easily visualize Master Empty Cloud right here.
My teacher tells me stories about the hermits living in the valley just beyond the high ridge above us. He sent my friends and I out on the trail to find them, but we've managed to get ourselves pretty much lost.
The fellow we met earlier said that the second time we hit the road, we need to go left. I thought he said go left.
Yeah, he said, but maybe he should.
Or maybe he meant right. Looks as much like a trail as anything.
Then, by sheer chance, we bump into someone who can guide us.
您住在什么地方？
我在那个下边一个茅棚，在那下边还有走一段路嘞。
啊。
在这下边沟里边，
一个人在那儿修行。多长时间了
？5、6年了。
5、6年了。就是想拍修行的人。
没有陪的话，下去到县上陪下去到那个。
有茅棚是吗？
也有茅棚，那里边也有住师傅。你们去在那里边也陪着呀，那个挺好的。
那时候一般不太接待，那去了也去年不会看到。
会看嘛？你
哪位？
要是你要等着我下来，我把你们带上去，我带下去看。要是你不熟悉的人去看的，他不会看的。
那晚上能住到那吗？晚上。
要是你晚上太晚了，下去住一晚上没事。这些够了。其实我都说得很了。
就是终南山是个修行之方嘛，我们就来这里来普惠嘛。也总是心个冇安居，到这里住呢，还没走好呢，等才走呢。
In the Tang Dynasty, there was a hermit poet named Han Shan. Han Shan had a friend, a jokester sidekick named Shide. They both wrote poems, scrawled on temple walls and on rocks and trees in the forest. Theirs was a friendship bound up in a love for this mountain life. So that's what I'll call these 2 hermits. First, because they have that raw bark and stone approach to the Buddha's teachings I recognize from the old poems. And second, because I don't know their real names. I tried to ask, but they just kind of ignored the question.
你们两个住在一起。我们两个。你们修行是，你们在一起修行吗？一起修，一起，都是我们徒。因为我们刚来还房大好呢。大好以后我们就可以分开各修各修。因为暂时你还没大好，必须有得一块儿下去，这就合作单合作几天。你听懂我的话吗？我听懂。对，这个秩序必须要得提开。知远知近，比如说你知这一件，我知那一件都行，互相坐谈，胸襟尺度没有大交干扰，这是什么的？那你知在一起那就不行。我说话了，你动弹的，那不能行。晚上睡下我翻手的，你那酣睡的，那怎么行？那不能行。好，来，那出家人，俺就说叫般若的，最高无上谱。由于他有这种超出这个三界的这种语感的，有这种音乐心性，所以他才出家。这娑婆世界太苦了，都这个个成佛成正觉。人吃土吃人嘛。你就烧成灰，化成骨灰，还非得归土嘛。你不能加回堆。
These two hermits are ascetics, which means they zealously embrace the austerity of this hermit life. It means they eat less, and they sleep less, and they live in the simplest shelters. It means they wear the threadbare robes cast aside by other monks.
是我咱就你看吧，你把时间看通了，看破了，看破能放得下，这就是智慧。假如说是看破了放不下，这也是口头禅。弄清了你就自在了。
你听得懂你就自在了。You can understand this, you're free, he says. Okay, so there we are. Thank Ted Berger for creating this film. It's called A Mountain Path. And if people want to see more, go to One Mind Productions. Here it is, One Mind Productions. And you can find out how to see the whole film. It's out on Vimeo, and you can rent it or buy it and show it with permission. So there it is. I bought my own copy off of Vimeo, so there it is, Mountain Path. Okay, now, just to say, we've seen a little bit about film. These images were filmed even, I think, not quite 10 years ago. But this represents the current state of cultivation at Zhongnanshan. If anything, because of the ups and downs of the economy in the world, the young people's interest in cultivating is probably more so than ever before. We know in China there's so many young people coming out of schools and not enough jobs. So that's always a time when ascetic cultivation becomes more popular. So this is what we're seeing is a situation that easily 200 years ago, when Master Empty Cloud was not quite, 150 years ago, when he was a young monk, a middle-aged monk, that he experienced that same state of simplicity, asceticism, and daily challenge just to get the basics of life settled. And I might, for people who just can't imagine why anyone would let go of creature comforts, the short answer is because you feel intensely alive in those situations. Every drop of water going down a parched throat is a gift and a thrill. And nothing is taken for granted. There's no padding between you and the reality of your one breath in a mortal body, keeping you alive. So it's very thrilling. It is an incredible cure for boredom. There's no such thing as boredom out there on the mountain because there's no time. You're busy breathing and cherishing every minute. So, okay, there we go. Next week, I'm going to share my stories of my experience at Zhongnanshan, and we'll continue with Master Empty Clouds going down the mountain and going out into Sichuan, where he traveled in China's distant, far southeast, on foot again. And he goes on into northern Malaysia, so parts of Southeast Asia, on foot again, where he was deeply revered and recognized as a true cultivator and a model, a role model for how to be a monk. All righty, there we go. I would like to invite everybody to, with me, dedicate merit, and please make a wish. And here we go. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Okay, we can make 3 bows. Give me 1 second here. We'll bring up the Buddha and our teacher. Here we go. 3 bows to the Buddha. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. That's going to do it for us for today. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you all next week. Amitofo. Bye, everybody.